If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe, like, share, and comment. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and another tutorial. Today I'm super happy to be sewing along with you the 33 West bag by Hils Handmade. This is Hils Handmade newest pattern as of January 2020. What year is it? 2024. Oh my gosh. There are quite a few new techniques in this. It was so much fun to sew. First, let me show you some of the amazing features of this bag. I swear every single panel of this has something great to share. So you can see on the front, so you can choose to have the slip pocket in the front or have the zipper pocket in the front. I chose to have it in the front. You can make your own decision what you want to do. So it's got a nice size slip pocket here, a nice decorative accent here. This panel would be awesome for showcasing like a print or a picture or an embroidery or anything you would like to do there. On the back, you have a zipper pocket with overlay. She has a pattern piece here where it comes down like this if you want to put your nameplate there, but because I was using this on the back of my bag, I wasn't going to put my nameplate there, so I just cut off that little extra overhang off of that overlay. It has connectors that go all the way down to the bottom and around. I chose to do a double-sided strap with this, mainly because I had very limited amounts of this mustard vinyl left. This is that vinyl that I picked up in Indonesia a year ago, and this is it. But I had just enough to make it into a shoulder bag. So I chose to do a double-sided strap with that. It has a recessed zipper. And usually I do my linings the same in all my bags, but there are just two cute pockets in here that I just had to make. So I did follow the pattern to a T so I can show you what it looks like. So on one side, can you see there's a little zipper pocket on this side and then a slip pocket on this side. And then on the opposite side, I've done my standard slip pocket with overlay. It's so cute. Now, this is the fun part of this bag. You see this whole vinyl top part? That's bound, you guys. It's bound. So this bag, if you are scared of drop-in linings and you are scared of binding, this bag is the perfect bag to start learning those skills because you do them both. You do not have to turn this bag. So you do the lining and the exterior as a drop-in lining and you baste it all the way around. Super easy with a recessed zipper. Then you take your vinyl overlay and you wrap it around and then you top stitch it all in place and you get this incredibly classy look. So do not be scared of the drop-in lining. Do not be scared of this binding because it's on the top. You're not having to turn it out. This is such an amazing bag to practice those skills with. So definitely give it a try. Thank you so much, Hillary, for allowing me to make this tutorial for you. Okay, now let's talk about materials I use in this bag. So again, this vinyl, this is an upholstery vinyl I picked up when I was in my Indonesia trip a year ago. This brown variegated, I believe this is called the Coyote variegated. I might have the name wrong, but it's from Galaxy Customs. My zippers and zipper pulls are from Blue Calla. The rest of my hardware is Emmaline bags. My lining fabric is the 600 Denier PVC canvas waterproof canvas from Sam Fabrics Creations. My main stabilizer in this is Pretty in Pink Sew Foam from Galaxy Customs. In the bottom, it's not part of the pattern, but I did add in a small piece of Decovil Heavy into my base just to give the base a little bit extra oomph, but you definitely do not need it. But I do give you the measurements of that piece and how I put it in during this tutorial. What else? This was such a fast sew. So I cut it, interfaced, well, I didn't have to do much interfacing because I used waterproof canvas and everything in one day as well as filming this tutorial. So that took me about 6 hours to do. I'm sure with a little practice, it'd be a lot faster, especially without filming and editing a video as I go. So this is such a great make. I'm hopeful it'll be a great seller too. I just think it's so incredibly pretty. Was there anything hard in this bag? No, nothing was hard. It was pretty simple. I would say it would be an adventurous beginner. So the funnest part, I still think, was this top part. Now I did definitely use my cylinder arm on this top part. If you have a free arm on your machine, you'll definitely want to use that on the top. But, oh, Coco says hi. You could definitely, on your flatbed, just stitch it. You can put it inside out if you wanted to, but that means you got to turn it the other way, or just stitch it from the inside and make sure your bobbin looks great. Do not be afraid of the finishes of this bag. It saves the turning and it goes so fast and it's not hard at all. Anyways, if at any time you do like this video, make sure you do give me a thumbs up. How about we get to making this bag and I'll catch you up the other side.
You're going to need some rivets, number 5 zipper tape, 2 rectangular rings, 2 strap ends, 3 number 5 zipper pulls, a zipper end, and your nameplate. You need your 2 main lining bottom pieces, your 2 exterior and 2 lining zipper panel pieces, your front pocket pieces, your lining and your exterior mirror to one another, and your accent piece. Your strap piece, I am actually going to do a double-sided handle for mine. Your exterior gusset pieces. Your exterior zipper pocket piece. Your interior lining piece with accent. These are your interior zipper pocket and interior small slip pocket pieces. 2 exterior main pieces. 2 lining gusset pieces. 2 lining top accent pieces. Your 2 connector pieces. Your binding piece, your vinyl binding piece, your lining top, 2 of those in exterior fabric, some foam, and I'm also adding in some Decovil Heavy, which I've cut 8 inches by 3 inches. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do my double-sided straps off camera. If you need a class on how I do these, it's down below in the description. Okay, so let's start with our back exterior piece. I've chosen to make the zipper pocket on the back of my bag, so I am doing finding my top and bottom centers. I've gone ahead and I've edge painted all my raw edges. I'm going to take some zipper or double-sided tape here and put them along the exterior side edges. And we want to put this nice and centered, 1 3/8 of an inch down from the top panel. All these measurements are in the pattern. Place this nice and centered. Once you have your spacing and you've double checked that it is definitely indeed centered, go ahead and press the double-sided tape down. Once you have that, go ahead and take off the other tape it down. Now, if you need a class on how to do a zipper pocket with overlay, it's down below in the description. So I've closed off. You can sew up all 3 edges of this. We do not need to leave an opening in the bottom of that zipper pocket. That is the bottom or back panel done. Okay, so now let's work on our front slip pocket pieces. You're going to take the 2 pieces, put them right sides together. This is why they are mirrored to one another. And we're going to sew just across the top here with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Then we're going to flip it wrong sides together and top stitch along the top as well. Now that that's done, I've also gone and put my nameplate, making sure it's nice and straight with the bottom, and only put it on the exterior pocket piece. Now you can see how this goes down curves, so make sure your nameplate is nice and even with the straight edge of the main bottom piece. Go ahead and clip the pocket on, following the shape of the exterior piece to match it up perfectly. This is on an angle. And then we're going to go ahead and base along here and up it here. Okay, so that is all done. Now we're going to take our accent piece, find the center, and draw a line on the wrong side. And then you're going to go ahead and take some double-sided tape or some clips. I'm just going to put some double-sided tape on that center line, and then I'm going to fold both of the long edges into that center line. Next, I'm going to take some 1/4 inch double-sided tape and put it down the center on the wrong side. And then you're going to center this over top of the raw edge of the slip pocket here. And what this is going to do is when we top stitch this in place, it is going to enclose those raw edges. Now you're going to go ahead and top stitch down each of those long edges to secure in place and to hide that raw edge. There we go, and just like that, our front main panel is complete. You can go ahead and trim off any excess of that accent piece. Okay, so now we're going to work on our connectors. I've already drawn my center line. I'm going to take my 1/2 inch double-sided tape down that center line, and I'm going to fold those raw edges down to that line to create a 1 inch connector. I'm now going to take a small piece of double-sided tape and just put it on the top end of the connector piece. On the right side with an erasable pen, go ahead and measure down 2.5 inches. This is going to be our guide for where we're going to fold over for our rectangular ring. Take your rectangular ring, put it over that top, fold over right where that line is, and then secure in place, wrong sides together with that double-sided tape. I'm now going to take my 1/2 inch double-sided tape and put it right down the center like so, leaving about 1.25 inches away from the top without the tape. Find the top and bottom centers of your exterior gusset pieces. Now the bottom of our gusset piece is the wider part and the narrower is the top part. On your connectors, on the right side, go ahead and from the fold where the rectangular ring measures, make a 1 inch mark. And then you're going to take that tape off and you're going to put this nice and centered from the bottom of that gusset piece up and stick in place. And then you're going to top stitch up here across that 1 inch line and down the other side for both of the gusset pieces. That's what that looks like done. Now you're going to take these gusset bottom pieces, And you're going to line up the shorter side with the bottom of our gusset side pieces. And you're going to go ahead and sew across there with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance and fold it so the connector or the seam is pointing towards the bottom, and then top stitch that seam in place. You're going to take those 2 gusset pieces, put them right sides together, clip across that bottom, and then we're going to sew across here with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. Then we're going to open up those seams and stitch on either side of the seam to hold those seams open. Okay, well, this isn't part of the pattern. I just like to have a little piece of Decovil Heavy in the bottom for extra stability. I've cut a Decovil Heavy piece 8 by 3 inches, and I'm going to center it along the gusset and fuse in place. So that's what that looks like. So now what we're going to take is all 3 of these pieces and back them with foam. Now here's a handy trick. You can see I've cut my foam slightly larger than my pieces, and the reason I've done that is so I can kind of pull that foam nice and tight against the stitching, and then kind of have my scissors at a 90-degree angle, and you can see how much thinner that is at the along that seam allowance. Okay, so now the thing I like to do is right where that exterior pocket piece is, I kind of pull my foam away to make sure I'm only cutting through the foam, and I'm going to cut about a 1 inch by the width of our zipper pocket through my foam, so I can pull my zipper pocket lining through it. And I just find that this makes it a lot less bulky on the exterior of the bag and kind of protects those contents in that zipper pocket with that foam. You can decide if you want to do that or not. It's just something that I like to do. I also like to just take a small piece of double-sided tape just to kind of hold that zipper pocket in place against my foam. Okay, so now we have our gusset pieces done. I've gone ahead and I've put my rivets through my foam, backed with some Decovil Heavy. Now you're going to take your exterior front piece and your gusset piece. You're going to match up the bottom centers, bring up the sides, match up the sides. Same with the opposite side. And then we can evenly distribute that fabric in between those clipped third sections, I guess that is. So clip it all the way down. Now if you find that it's not quite fitting that gusset around, you need a little extra something there, you can go ahead and put little 1/8 of an inch or so snips all along the gusset right where that curve is, and that'll help spread the gusset material out to get around that rounded curve if you need to. Do the same for the other side. And here, you can kind of see here how my gusset doesn't quite want to go around, so I'll show you once again. You're going to make some small snips. You want to make sure they're under 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, as our seam allowance will be 1/4 of an inch. Just cut into that gusset, and that'll help make the straight piece into a rounded piece, so it'll go around our main panel nice and even. Now go ahead and sew all the way around with 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. That's done, kind of run your finger along the seam to make sure everything was caught, and then repeat the exact same thing with the other piece and the other side of the gusset piece. So that is our exterior done. Go ahead and turn this right side out. Believe it or not, this is going to be the only turning in this bag. You only have this one turn. It's an incredible final construction once we get there. Go ahead and run your fingers all along that seam to pop out that seam nice and curvy and taut. I'm just running my finger right along that seam. And that is your exterior complete. You can go ahead and set that aside for now. Okay, now we're going to work on our lining part. So we are going to work on that little teeny tiny zipper pocket on the back side here. So on our zipper pocket lining piece, you're going to measure down 1 inch and then a 1/2 inch down from that line and draw 3/4 inch lines from each side. And then another 3/8 to a 1/2 inch a line away from those 3/4 inch lines into the rectangle. We are just creating our standard zipper pocket guidelines here. Draw a line down the center and your V's out. Find your top and bottom centers of your lining main panels. Okay, so I'm going to use my rulers as a guide here. So I'm setting my one ruler right at that middle mark there, 1 inch down from the middle mark. I'm taking another ruler, making sure it lines up, and you can see here how my lining pocket goes right sides together, right where it needs to be in that little kind of corner we've created. Through the V's, go ahead, or through the line that we drew, put a few clips or pins in there and go ahead and stitch around the rectangle like I've done here. Now take your rotary cutter, cut into that center line, and then cut to those 3/8 of an inch line and cut into your V's without cutting your stitches. Then go ahead and put that lining piece through that opening, bringing the zipper lining piece and our main lining piece wrong sides together. Pressing those seams out really good, and then take this over to your iron and give it a really good press. There we go. So now I have my zipper already with its zipper pull. I'm going to take some double-sided tape on the back side here and put it underneath the rectangle that we pulled through. Take off the paper of the top piece and place it centered over top of our zipper with the pull going to the left. Once you're happy with the placement there, go ahead and take the paper off the bottom piece and stick it in place as well. Then you're going to take this to your machine and you're going to top stitch around that rectangle with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. So that is done. I'm going to just trim up my zipper tape so it's the same as my lining zipper pocket. Bring your lining up wrong sides or right sides together like so, and clip the 3 edges together nice and even. Then we're going to take this to our machine, holding our main lining piece out of the way, and we are going to sew up each of those sides that are open to close up that zipper pocket. This is what that looks like complete, and it's completely sealed. You can go ahead and trim up those seam allowances to about 1/4 of an inch or so, just to reduce some bulk and keep them out of the side seam allowances of the main pieces. Okay, now we're going to work on that little itty bitty slip pocket. So you can take the slip pocket piece, fold it right sides together like so. We're going to leave an opening along the top about that wide, and then we're going to stitch in between those openings with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance, making sure to leave that one opening for turning this right sides through. So 1/4 inch up here to the line, back stitch, and same for the other side. Once that's done, go ahead and cut the corners on an angle, being very careful not to catch any of our stitching. Go ahead and turn this right sides out through that opening. Poke out all those corners nice and sharp, all 4 of them. And then go ahead and take this to the machine, or not to the machine, to the iron to give it a good press, folding in that raw edge by the seam allowance like so, and pressing it in place to enclose those raw edges. Then we're going to go ahead, take it to the machine, and along that top, we're going to top stitch just the top to close up that opening. Along the bottom on the wrong side, I like to use a little bit of double-sided tape. And just like we did with our zipper pocket, we're going to use our rulers as per the measurements in the pattern for the placement of this zipper pocket or slip pocket. There we go. And then we're going to top stitch that in place, 3 on-top stitch sides, leaving the top open to create our slip pocket. I've gone ahead and I've added in some rivets backed with some Decovil Heavy just to make it so that stitching is a little bit stronger. On the opposite side, I went and did my normal slip pocket piece like so. If you need a class on that, it's down below in the description. Okay, so now for our zipper panel, we're going to take our zipper tape wrong side up, and on the right hand side make a 1-inch line, which will help us get the zipper pawl on nice and straight later on. On the opposite side, right side up, we're going to kind of fold down our zipper tape like so at a 90-degree angle and put a pin in to hold in place. Do the other side to match like so, and then take this to the machine and baste those in place. Now you can go ahead and you can trim off those wings so it's nice and even with the zipper tape, and then go ahead and pull the zipper tape apart. Now we're going to prep our zipper panel. So I got my 2 exterior and my 2 lining pieces here. I do this slightly different than the pattern. This is the way I like to do my zipper panels. So I'm going to measure in 3/4 of an inch from each side. You will do this for all 4 pieces. I like to use a little bit of double-sided tape here. And then I'm going to fold the short ends into that 3/4 of an inch line. So this is giving us a 3/8 of an inch fold over for all 4 pieces. Make sure they're nice and even. Now on one of the lining pieces from the left-hand side, you're going to mark a 1/4 inch, and on the other one, a 1/4 inch from the right-hand side. So these are right side up. I'm going to put some double-sided tape from each of those 1/4 inch lines all the way to the end. You can use clips here as well if you prefer. Now I have my lining piece right side up and my zipper tape right side up. We want our curvy sides of our zipper tapes to match up with that 1/4 of an inch line. You will see that these will go in opposite directions, which is what we want as they are mirrored to one another. Next, you're going to take an exterior piece, put some more double-sided tape or clips along the top sides. And you're going to put this right sides together with our right side up lining and zipper pieces. So you're sandwiching that zipper tape. Make sure that they match up. Then we're going to go ahead and sew across here with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance for both of our zipper panels. Now Dexter bumped my camera here, so my one camera is all wonky. I apologize for that. I am changing into my right zipper foot so I can get nice and close to my zipper tape and have a nice and straight zipper. Now that that's done, we're going to go ahead and finger press the lining and the exteriors wrong sides together like so, pulling them away from the zipper teeth, and clip those 3 sides in place. Now what we're going to do is the long side we're going to baste the raw edges there, and we're going to top stitch along the 3 finished edges. Now that's done, they should be pretty much very symmetrical and match each other but mirror to each other. Along that long raw edge, go ahead and find your centers. Again, make sure our centers match up, and they do. Now we can start attaching these to our lining pieces. We're going to take our lining top pieces here, and we're going to go ahead and find our top and bottom centers. Now we have our lining piece. I'm going to start with my back piece because I want it at the back of my bag. I have my zipper panel with the curve going to the left. My lining piece is right side up and my zipper panel is right side up. Clip this in place. Now you will be kind of going over a curve, so just make that straight piece kind of follow that. Then we're going to take our lining top piece like so. We're going to match up that first center. Now this is going to feel a little unnatural just because we are putting curves that are going opposite directions of each other together, but trust me, it works. Just kind of fold it up. It'll kind of make it look like a little concave little thing here. You'll see what I mean here. Add it into the clips all the way to the end of the lining pieces. So this is right sides together with our zipper panel that's right side up and our lining panel right side up. You can kind of see how it does this weird little curve. Go ahead and sew that together with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Press the seam allowance towards the lining bottom and then top stitch through the lining with our zipper panel facing up. So when we go to top stitch it, you will see the wrong side or the lining side of the zipper panel. So this is them, both of them done. Now we're going to go ahead and we are going to do our gusset pieces similar to how we did our exterior gusset pieces, except for we just have to sew across that bottom piece with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now I've gone ahead and I've pressed my seam open. I'm going to match up my bottom centers just like so. So this clips together exactly like the exterior did. We're only going to be doing a little bit different for our stitching so we don't have a bagging lining, which we will get to shortly. So once we have it all clipped together like this, so to about here-ish, we're going to start with a 1/4 inch seam allowance, and then all the way around the bottom, we're going to do a 3/8 inch seam allowance, and then when we hit the opposite side, branch back into a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Okay, now this is the magic part. Make sure your zipper pulls are closing to the left here, so the curvy sides going to the left, matching up the back panel with your back lining piece. These are going wrong sides together. So this is a drop-in lining. So match up the front center and the back center. Then we're going to match up the side seams here. Now I am just nesting my seams. You can try to open up the seams. I find it a little bit hard with such a small seam allowance, so I'm just going to nest my lining and exterior seams together here. And do the same for the opposite side of the gusset. Take your time to make sure everything is laying nice and flat. And once you have those quarter sections, excuse me, all in place, you're going to go ahead and evenly distribute the rest of the fabric in between those quarter sections, being mindful that everything is laying nice and flat. So this is what this looks like. Now we're going to base these with 1/8 of an inch seam allowance. If I was on my flatbed, I'd go ahead and do it from the inside of the bag. I am going to be using my cylinder arm, and if you're on a free arm, you can do it exactly as I am doing right now. So that is all done. Everything looks good in place. And now we're going to work on the binding section of it. So what we're going to do is I'm going to take of my vinyl binding piece here. I'm going to put some double-sided tape. You definitely want to use double-sided tape here, as it's just going to make things a lot easier for you. Put the tape along the two long edges. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fold this in half, wrong sides together, and I'm just going to use my by Annie stiletto here. It has a little pressing tool here, and I'm just going to kind of create a crease down the middle, and this is going to help us guide this vinyl onto that edge when we go to bind it. So I just love how this one is a drop-in lining and a binding finish. Great way to practice these two techniques, and it's not hard to do with this bag. So go ahead and make that crease. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to make sure my binding starts on the sides. I have also edge painted all 4 edges of my binding, and we are going to put this at the center mark, kind of line that crease we did along the top of the bag, and stick this down and around the lining and the exterior, enclosing that raw edge nice and tight. Now you want to make sure that it is folding over evenly, because when we go to stitch this in place, we want to make sure we are catching both sides of the binding. It is definitely not hard at all to do it with this piece. It is measured out perfectly, and I know you can do it. Super easy. So bring it down to the other side and then overlap the 2 short ends here, and then go ahead and stick down the other side down towards the lining. Again, making sure that it's nice and even, so you'll be able to catch both sides when you go to do our final top stitch. Now, I forgot to turn my camera on for the final top stitch, but you're going to do it exactly like how we basted it on, except you're going to go ahead and top stitch through everything with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance. So it looks exactly like we did with the base, just adding on the binding and going in with a 1/4 of an inch top stitch. Okay, so this is the point I was talking about, where you will go around and you will top stitch all the way around here with a 1/4 of an inch seam allowance in the exact same fashion that you basted them together. So this is what that looks like all done. It wasn't hard to do, so you can see it caught all on the outside. I've gone ahead and I have put on my straps. I've riveted them on, or put on my strappa. There's only one. It's riveted on. I also went ahead, put on my zipper pull matching up that 1-inch line, and put on my zipper end. And look how tight that lining fits in there. And we don't have to turn it. How amazing is that? We have saved our arms. We didn't have to turn it through any pockets. I swear this may be one of my new favorite ways of finishing a bag. So easy, a drop-in lining as well as a binding finish. Admire your work, pat yourself on the back, and we're done.
That's it. That's all. See? Not too bad. I apologize that I didn't show the final top stitch along here. I forgot to hit record and I wasn't going to pull it out to do it again because that would just put holes in everything. But of course it just went exactly how we basted it on, just with a 1/4 inch seam allowance. Anyways, I hope that you guys all enjoyed this video. Please do share your 33 West bags on my Facebook group, which is linked down below in the description. If you did like this video, please do hit the thumbs up, leave me a comment. If you haven't already, please do subscribe. Every subscribe helps me so much. If you haven't yet, check out my membership side of the channel in case there's something that intrigues you there. If you'd like to support my channel further, you can always buy me a coffee, link down below in the description. But until the next one, I'll catch you guys again.